Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I'm going to be your host, The Irrelevant Nerd, and today I'm going to be going over my top 5 most anticipated movies of 2026. So to get started, Happy New Year. 2026 is a pretty big year for several of my favorite franchises, so this was not an easy list to make, and to be clear, as always, this is just my personal list, what I'm personally excited about. If you disagree, that's great. Let me know your list down in the comments below. Before we jump into the top 5, I do have some honorable mentions, like usual, when I have a hard time narrowing down the list. So the first honorable mention is going to be The Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't actually think this movie is going to be very good, and I do think there's a very, very strong chance that it flops like even harder than Solo did, but it'll be nice to see Star Wars on the big screen again. Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019, so there'll be a 7-year gap in between movies. Like, that's just a few years shorter than the gap between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens. So it's been a while. So I don't think it's going to be good, but it'll be fun to see the galaxy far, far away on the big screen. And then our last honorable mention is going to be Batman Nightfall Part 1. These DC animated movies can really just slap, and with them splitting it into 3 parts, I think they can really do it justice and maybe even fix some of the inconsistent tone you get in some of the comics. And if they do it right, like, it could be truly epic. So it's got to be on the list somewhere. All right, so honorable mentions out of the way. Let's go ahead, get into the top 5. Number 5, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. Avatar, The Last Airbender is one of the best animated series of all time, and so this movie has a lot of pressure on it and a lot of legacy to live up to, but I have high hopes because they have taken so much care with the shows. I actually think that Legend of Korra is quite good. It's not as good, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say it is. And after 18 years, it'll be fun to have more adventures with Aang and the gang. I'm a little disappointed that none of the original cast are returning, and I'm also disappointed that instead of releasing it in theaters like they had originally planned, they're going to make it exclusive to, I believe it's Paramount has the rights to Avatar The Last Airbender, so it'll premiere on there, which is kind of annoying. I would have loved to see it on the big screen, but I am still very, very excited for it, and I do think they are going to do a good job. Number 4, The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan is one of just the best directors we have working, and one of my favorite directors personally. I think this movie has a chance to be like truly epic in scale, epic in feel. It has a stellar cast as always. Like, Nolan just knows how to work with good talent, and people love to work with him because his movies are so cerebral and different than everything else that you're getting. And I'm so curious to see how they're going to do some of the more like mythic aspects of the story, because Christopher Nolan likes to keep his movies very grounded, like as much as possible. Like, even with Interstellar, Inception, he tries to have a logic and just a core to it that makes sense. And so I'll be very excited to see how he does this one. And I've always loved Greek mythology, and I think it's cool that we're going to get a movie of this scale from a director this talented. Number 3, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I love the character of Spider-Man, and I think this movie has a chance to establish a more like classic version of the character in the MCU. I've loved Tom Holland as the character, and I've enjoyed the movies that we've gotten so far. Not as much the second one, but the first and third one I thought were quite good, and I love him in Infinity War. But the character has always been a little bit, I don't know, like Iron Man Jr. in a way, because, you know, Tony Stark is his mentor in the MCU, which I do enjoy, but I don't like how reliant this Spider-Man has been on tech with the like the nanotech suit and the spider arms and everything, or the Iron Spider arms, just everything like that. And I think this movie will also give us a chance to focus on like Peter and Peter Parker's struggles, which are so important to the character, and it's why I personally enjoy Spider-Man 2 the most of all the Spider-Man movies, because Peter Parker needs to struggle. He is the relatable underdog, and he hasn't really felt like an underdog in any of his movies. And I do think that bringing in Daniel Destin Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi, for a Spider-Man movie is going to be awesome. I think it's a great pick. It's not one that I would have thought of, but I'm very, very excited to see how it all comes together, especially with the Punisher and the Hulk rumored to be in it. I just hope it still focuses on Spider-Man, but I do have high hopes. Number 2, Dune Part 3. I think that Denis Villeneuve absolutely nails it with the first 2 Dune movies. I think there's a good argument that they might be the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. Maybe not the most influential or anything like that, or iconic like Star Wars, but just in terms of sheer quality, acting, special effects, music, sound effects, like across the board, the first 2 Dune movies are fantastic as films. Whether or not you think they're a good interpretation of the book, like as sci-fi films, they are near flawless. And this one is going to be based off of Dune Messiah, the second Dune book, which is a little darker and a little more out there in terms of sci-fi, and you get to play into the politics a little bit more. You'll feel maybe kind of some Game of Thrones in space vibes, and I'll be very, very excited to just explore more of the world on screen and just spend time with these characters. I think they did such a good job with the cast that I cannot wait to see them come back and just have more adventures on this planet and in this galaxy together. And I'm so excited. I'm bummed that we have to wait all the way. I believe this movie comes out in December, so we have to wait, but I think it's going to be worth it. Number 1, Avengers Doomsday. It's an obvious pick, and I am very nervous for this movie because of the shaky quality of the MCU over the past couple years, but I am not gonna lie, the more that I hear about this movie, the more my hype starts to build. I really do think that the Russo brothers work so well in the MCU system, as well as RDJ, and I think together they really could be like cooking up something special. And I do think the MCU is on an upswing. It still is having its misses that of shows that were made a few years ago under the old regime and way they were doing things. But I think with the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four First Steps closing 2025 out so strong on the movie side, and even Brave New World, it wasn't the best movie, but it did feel like the MCU was starting to connect together again. And I just think that's kind of helping my hype. And like Doctor Doom is the fucking man. Like in comic books, Doctor Doom is him. And I think we're going to get a great version of this character in these movies. And it is an obvious nostalgia bait with just bringing RDJ back in general, and now they're bringing back Chris Evans, and we've had the Thor trailer, and they're bringing back the X-Men from the Fox universe, and all this stuff. It's playing at the nostalgia, but I'm eating it up, and I do think this could be exactly what the MCU needs, especially since you've kind of heard in the behind-the-scenes sphere that there is a really strong chance that after Secret Wars, the MCU is going to kind of be softly rebooted, so we'll get some of these characters recast and then brought back with different actors that will hopefully be able to inject this franchise with some new life, kind of like the original casting was done so well, and that was part of what built up the hype for the MCU originally. But I am so excited for it. I am nervous, but just something, my gut feeling is telling me that they are going to get it right. All right, so quick recap. Honorable mentions. I had The Mandalorian and Grogu, Batman Nightfall Part 1, the animated movie, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, The Odyssey, Spider-Man Brand New Day, Dune Part 3, and coming in at number 1, Avengers Doomsday. Am I missing any big ones on here? I would love to see your list down below, your top 5, top 3, top 1, whatever you have. Please comment it. Let me know what you're excited for. I am working on a video for my most anticipated TV shows of the year. I do have Fallout reviews that I'm working on, so I will have more up very soon, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.